Alex Rowan sat alone under the quiet sky of the training camp. The stars above him were beautiful, scattered like dust across black velvet. He used to love watching the stars. But tonight, they made him feel small. And alone, his fingers slowly traced the cold metal of the old rifle resting across his lap. It was a gift from his grandfather. Real, wooden stock, bolt-action rifle. Outdated, heavy, and loud. But to Alex, it was more than a weapon. It was a memory. It was the last real connection he had to someone who mattered. His best friend. Juno had moved away months ago. She was chosen for a high-level program on Titan, Earth's moon colony. She was smart, brave, and always dreamed big. She used to say, Alex, one day we'll be out there defending Earth, making peace, proving humans are more than what the galaxy thinks. But now she was gone. She hadn't written back in weeks. Messages were short when they came. Sometimes cold. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she had changed. Alex didn't know. All he knew was that something between them had drifted. And he didn't know how to reach her again. He looked at the rifle again and whispered, "What would you do, Grandpa?" His grandfather had fought in the early days of the interplanetary wars, back when humans were new to the galactic stage. When other species saw them as primitive, loud, emotional. But somehow, humans always survived. Not because they were the strongest, but because they didn't give up. They fought with heart. That night, the memory of Juno haunted him more than usual. He remembered how they used to train together. She had sharper reflexes. He had steadier hands. They'd cover each other, challenge each other, laugh until they cried. Her laugh used to sound like home. Now, all he had was silence. The next morning, the camp commander announced the news. The Galactic Union had approved Earth's participation. In the annual joint war games, each species would send its best. Alex was chosen as part of the Earth team. Everyone else cheered. But Alex just stood still, shocked. Titan Colony would be one of the staging areas. Juno would be there. The thought made his heart beat faster. But fear quickly followed. Would she even want to see me? In the days that followed, Alex trained harder than ever. While others practiced with energy rifles and digital visors, he stayed with his bolt action. Everyone teased him for it, still using that ancient stick. One cadet laughed, but Alex just smiled quietly. It still hits the target. I remembered something Juno once said during training. Sometimes the oldest things hold the strongest memories. Don't throw them away just because they look old. Those words felt heavy now. Maybe she had forgotten. But he hadn't. When the team landed on Titan, Alex's eyes scanned every corridor. Every silver hallway and glowing screen made the place feel colder than he imagined. He didn't see Juno at first, but he could feel the closeness of her presence and the distance in his heart. During orientation, the commander listed out roles, and then it happened. And Cadet Juno Vire will be leading the Joint Species Coordination Team. Alex's breath caught. She walked into the room, tall and composed, wearing the blue and silver uniform of Titan's elite. Her hair was shorter, her face sharper, but it was her. Their eyes met for a second. She blinked, then looked away. Something cracked in Alex's chest. He wanted to speak, to run. After her, to say, "Hey, I miss you," or "Why did you stop writing?" But no words came. It's just silence. And the distance grew wider. That night, back in his room, Alex looked at the rifle again. His fingers trembled. "I don't know if she even remembers the old us," he said softly. "But I still do." He loaded a single practice round in two. The chamber, aimed at a target across the range, fired. The echo was loud, real, and raw, so different from the soft whir of modern weapons. A voice behind him whispered, still loud as ever. Alex turned. Juno stood there. She looked at the target, then at him. Her eyes were unreadable. "I heard the shot," she said. Alex nodded. "Some things don't change." There was a pause, and she said, "Some things. We think they're gone, but they're just waiting. Waiting for the right moment to speak again." He didn't know what that meant, but it was enough. small crack in the wall between them. Maybe the distance wasn't permanent. Maybe some things like hope, like old rifles, like lost friends, could still find their way back. Asterisk, the night felt long and cold. Even inside the Titan base, where the temperature was carefully controlled, he kept replaying the short moment with Juno in his mind. Her voice, her eyes, the way she had said some things. We think they're gone, but they're just waiting. What did that mean? Was it about them? About the past they shared? He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, his heart full of questions. She hadn't stayed to talk. She just left. Again, the next morning, Alex tried to act normal. He trained with. His team reviewed the wargame maps and cleaned his rifle. But he wasn't really there. His thoughts were still stuck in that quiet space between what was said and what was left unsaid. During lunch, one of the other cadets nudged him. "Hey, Earth Boy, you okay? You're spacing out." Alex blinked. "Yeah, just tired. Better wake up. Your friend Juno is leading strategy for the joint teams. We might be following her orders soon." Friend, that word stung. Later during the strategy briefing, Juno stood at the front of the room, confident, calm, distant. She talked about the terrain, objectives, and how the different species needed to cooperate. Her voice was strong, but Alex noticed something others didn't. She avoided looking at him. After the meeting, stood in the hallway, just hoping she might say something, but she walked past. No smile, no glance. Just silence. Alex felt like a ghost. He walked out to the training yard, where the stars could still be seen through the glass dome above. He sat alone on a bench, holding his grandfather's rifle again. The cold metal comforted him. Why is? "It's so hard to talk to someone who used to know everything about you," he whispered nearby. An alien cadet from the Tharn species was struggling to load a mechanical crossbow. The Union allowed each species to bring one traditional weapon for balance. For humans, it was the rifle. For Tharn, it was the crossbow. The alien looked frustrated. Alex stood and walked over. "You need help?" the Tharn cadet surprised. Nodded slowly. Yes, the string is hard to fix." Alex knelt beside him. "Here, it's all about tension. You have to feel the balance in your fingers, like tuning a guitar." The alien blinked. "What is a guitar?" Alex smiled softly. "It's an old human instrument, like a crossbow, but it sings instead of shoots." Together they fixed the weapon. The Tharn cadet thanked him. As Alex walked away, he felt something shift inside him, even. If he couldn't fix things with Juno right away, maybe he could still do good. Still be human in the best way. That night, he did something bold. He wrote her a message. Not a long one. Just a short, honest note. Message 2. Juno Vierhe. I don't know if you want to talk, but I do. I miss the old days. If there's a time you can meet just one Sile, be by the outer bench, under the stars, tomorrow night. No pressure. Just hope he didn't know if she'd see it, or read it, or care. The next day passed slowly. Every moment felt heavy, echoed with hope and doubt. That evening, as the stars rose again, Alex sat at the same bench. The one where he always watched the sky, where he had once shared stories, dreams, and laughter with her. Minutes passed, then hours no one came. His heart sank. Maybe she really had moved on. He was about to leave when he heard soft footsteps. He turned. Juno stood there, arms crossed, eyes soft but guarded. "You waited," she said. Alex stood. "I said I would." They stood in silence for a moment. Then she sat beside him. "I didn't know what to say," she admitted. "When I saw you again, I felt like too much time had passed." Alex looked at her. "Hasn't. At least not for me." She sighed. "I didn't stop caring. I just got scared. Everything moved so fast here. Thought maybe you were better off not hearing from me." "I wasn't," Alex said quietly. She glanced at his rifle, then smiled faintly. "Still carrying that old thing?" He nodded. "It reminds me of who I am." They sat in silence again, but this time it felt warm. Juno finally said, "The galaxy sees humans as the emotional ones. But maybe that's not weakness. Maybe that's our strength. Alex nodded slowly. Maybe being human means we don't give up, even when we don't know how to fix things. She looked at him. Then let's try. Hope sparked again. It was small, but it was enough. The next few days passed quietly. Alex and Juno had spoken, but it didn't feel like everything was better, or there was still a space between them. Not as wide as before, but not gone either, like a bridge half built. He wanted to talk more. Wanted things to go back to how they used to be training together, laughing over late-night rations, dreaming about the stars. But now everything felt more serious. Juno had responsibilities. She was respected here, a leader, and Alex, well, he was just another soldier with an old rifle. During the team drills, they didn't speak. She stood near the strategy table with the other officers. He stayed with the ground team. Sometimes their eyes met, but neither of them smiled. It was hard. One morning Alex woke up early and went to the range alone. He lined up targets and began practicing with the rifle. Each shot rang out like thunder in the cold air. It echoed against the steel walls, filling the space with raw sound. He liked the way it felt, solid, loud, not like the silent plasma weapons everyone else used. As he reloaded, he heard footsteps behind him. It was Commander Vale from the Arcan Empire, one of the alien leaders. Tall, with scales the color of silver stone and eyes like amber glass. "You humans like noise," Vale said calmly. Alex nodded. "Sometimes it's the only way to be heard." Vale studied the rifle. "That thing is obsolete. Why not use what the rest of the galaxy uses?" Alex shrugged. "It's simple, reliable, doesn't break when a system goes down." Vale tilted his head. "And when it breaks?" Alex smiled softly. "I fix it." The alien was quiet for a moment. Then he said something unexpected. "We once thought emotion was weakness. But humans, you carry your past with pride. You feel sadness, yet you still move forward. That is not weakness." Alex was surprised. "Thank you." After Vale left, Alex stood there a long time. He hadn't realized it until now, but maybe this was what humans brought to the galaxy. Not better weapons, not faster ships, just heart. The courage to keep caring, even when it hurt. Later that day, Juno approached him in the mess hall. She sat beside him without saying anything for a while. Finally, she spoke. "I heard you were up early." He nodded. "Had a lot on my mind." She looked down. "Me too." Alex wanted to reach out, but he didn't. "Not yet. I talked to Commander Vale," he said instead. "Said something strange that emotion isn't weakness." Juno blinked. "From Vale? That's rare." Alex smiled faintly. "Maybe we're rubbing off on them." She didn't laugh, but her shoulders relaxed a little. Then she said something that stayed with him. "You know, I still remember the last thing you said to me before I left Earth." Alex looked at her, surprised. "What did I say?" She paused. "You said, no matter where you go, hope you don't forget what home feels like." His chest tightened. "I never forgot." "That?" she said softly. "Even when I stopped writing." I remembered. He didn't know what to say, but he didn't have to. Sometimes, silence was enough. That night, they met again under the stars, at the same bench. This time, Juno brought 2 cups of warm tea. She handed one to Alex. They sat quietly, sipping, watching the stars. After a while, Juno said, "You know, I used to think moving forward meant leaving things behind. But now I think maybe moving forward means bringing the best parts with you." Alex looked at her. "And what if those parts feel far away?" "And you take one step at a time," she said. He smiled. It wasn't everything. The distance hadn't disappeared completely, but it was less. It was shrinking. And that was enough for now. Alex stood at the edge of the observation deck, looking down at Titan's frozen landscape. The glass wall stretched high above him, showing the stars and Saturn's golden rings in the distance. Everything looked peaceful from up here, but inside, Alex's heart still felt heavy. Juno hadn't said much since their talk at the bench. They had shared tea, a few soft words, and a moment under the stars. But afterward, it was like they went back to walking separate paths again. She was busy with her command team, and he was buried in drills and simulations. Every time he saw her from across the base, his chest ached. He wanted to talk more, laugh with her, train side by side again, but something held him back. Maybe fear, maybe doubt. Did she want to reconnect, or was she just being polite? He didn't know. One evening, he went back to the training yard alone. He set up paper targets the old way and loaded his bolt-action rifle. As he aimed, he remembered how Juno used to tease him. That thing belongs in a museum. He smiled, a little sad. But this time he didn't shoot. Instead, just stood there. His hand slowly reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out a small item, something old, worn, and faded. A cloth patch with Earth's blue and white insignia. He and Juno had gotten matching ones during their first year of training. She had stitched hers on her sleeve. He had kept his in his pocket ever since. It still smelled faintly like earth dust, smoke, and morning rain. He looked at it and whispered, "Do you still carry yours?" The next morning, something unexpected happened. During briefing, Juno asked Alex to stay behind after the others left. She stood by the digital map table, arms crossed, face unreadable. "I want to ask you something," she said. "Sure." No. Look directly at him. "Why haven't you talked to me more?" Alex was surprised. "I thought maybe you needed space." She shook her head. "I didn't come here to forget people who mattered to me. But I don't know where we stand anymore." He swallowed. "Me neither." He stood in silence. Finally she said, "Do you still have the earth patch?" He reached into his jacket and held it out. Juno's eyes softened. She pulled up her sleeve. The same patch, older now, was still there, stitched into her uniform. Alex smiled. "For the first time in weeks, it felt real. I never took it off," she said. "Even when I stopped writing, even when I told myself to move on." "Why didn't you write back?" he asked gently. She looked down. "Because it hurt too much to miss you." His heart thudded. "I missed you too. Every single day." They sat on the edge of the table. For a while, they didn't speak. Then Juno said, "I thought I had to change to belong here. Be sharper, colder, more focused. But I lost something along the way." "You didn't lose it," Alex said softly. "You just forgot where it started." Juno looked at him. "You reminded me." That evening, Juno joined him at the shooting range for the first time in months. She didn't bring a weapon. She just watched as Alex aimed and fired. She smiled. "Still sounds like thunder." Alex chuckled, louder than plasma. Then she said, "You know what I miss the most?"
What?
"Our late-night planning sessions. When we used to dream up missions and draw maps on napkins." He grinned. "You always added too many secret tunnels." She nudged him. "You always added dramatic last stands." They both laughed, and in that moment, something between them shifted like a stone lifting from their shoulders. Later, as they walked back through the quiet halls, Juno stopped. "Alex, I want to reconnect. I'm just not good at this." He looked at her. "Neither am I, but we can try. One step at a time." She nodded. That night, under the stars again, they sat at the bench. No words, no pressure, just silence and warmth. In the sky above them, the stars didn't change. But inside, something had. Alex and Juno spoke more now. Not always long conversations, but simple things. A good morning, a nod across the training yard, a short laugh after drills. The silence between them was no longer cold. It was just quiet, like a calm wind. After a storm, but still. Alex felt something missing. They weren't the same as before. The bond they used to share the easy closeness. The deep trust, the joy in little things, wasn't fully back. And that made him sad. He kept wondering, does she still care the way I do? Can things ever go back to the way they were? He didn't want to push. He didn't want to lose what little had returned. So he stayed careful, quiet, hoping she would take the next step. One morning, the base lights dimmed as a system reset began. A tech officer explained that the simulation servers would go offline for 3 hours. Most cadets took the break to rest. Alex went to the old archive room. It was quiet, rarely used. Inside were old maps, printed files, and tools from Earth's early space programs. He sat down at a dusty desk, stared at a yellowing star chart. It reminded him of something Juno once told him. Even if we lose our way, the stars will help us find home. Just then, the door creaked. Juno stepped in, holding 2 steaming mugs. I figured you'd be here, she said. Alex looked up, surprised but happy. You remembered? She smiled softly and handed him a mug, mint tea, like old times. They sat in silence for a while, sipping the warm tea. Then Juno said, I used to come here too, when I first arrived, to feel close to something familiar. Alex looked at her. I never stopped missing Earth. I know, she said. I think I tried to forget it. Pretend I didn't miss home or you, but I did. His heart beat faster. She set her mug down. I felt so far away from you, Alex, and the more time passed, the harder it became to reach back. He nodded. Same here. I kept thinking, maybe you were happier without me. She shook her head. No, just afraid. I didn't want to feel weak. Alex looked into her eyes. Missing someone isn't weakness. It means we still care. Quiet moment passed. Then she said something he didn't expect. Do you remember the star map we made on paper? The one with the secret hideouts and routes? Alex grinned. Of course. I still have it. Her eyes widened. You kept it? He reached into his coat and pulled out a folded piece of paper. It was worn, edges torn, ink faded, but the stars and little symbols were still there. Juno took it, gently holding it like something fragile. I used to look at this and feel safe, she whispered. Alex smiled. Me too. They spread it out on the table. The old map between them brought back memories. The time they hid rations under a fake moon base. The time they gave star names to each other. The time they promised to explore the galaxy. Dashed together. Juno traced a finger over a tiny symbol, 2 stick figures under a star. That was us, she said. Still is, Alex replied quietly. She looked at him. I don't know if we can go back, she said, but maybe we can go forward. Together. Alex felt something warm bloom in his chest. One step at a time. She nodded that night. During group assembly, Juno surprised everyone. She walked up to the main board and posted the hand-drawn star map beside the digital maps. This, she said, is a piece of Earth's heart. A reminder of where we come from. Symbol of why we keep going even when we feel lost. The room was silent. Then someone clapped. Then more. Alex stood at the back. Watching her, she looked at him and smiled. The distance between them had not fully vanished, but it had changed. It was no longer a wall. It was a path, not broken, just waiting to be walked together. The days on Titan passed quickly, but Alex still felt the quiet weight of distance between him and Juno. They talked more now, shared small moments, but the easy closeness they once had was still a fragile thing, like a glass bridge stretched over deep space. Careful steps. Alex often wondered how to close the gap fully, how to make her see that, no matter where she went, she would never be truly alone. That he cared, deeply, patiently, without giving up. One afternoon, after drills, Alex found Juno sitting alone in the hydroponics garden. The small green space was a rare piece of Earth-like nature inside the cold base, a place to breathe, to remember. He approached quietly. She looked up and smiled faintly. Hey, she said. Hey, she said. Hey, Alex replied. They sat side by side, watching the soft light flicker on the leaves. I miss this, Juno said. Me too, Alex agreed. It's like a piece of home we carry with us, she sighed. Sometimes I feel like I'm carrying more than I should. Alex turned to her, curious, like the weight of expectations of who I'm supposed to be here. He nodded slowly. I know, I feel that too. But with you, she said, it was easier. We didn't pretend, We just were.
Alex smiled softly.
That's because humans don't give up on each other. Even when it's hard, even when we don't know how. Juno looked at him with something like hope in her eyes. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small, rough sketch he had made. The night before, it was a simple drawing, two figures on a bridge, hands reaching toward each other with stars shining above. I drew this, he said, to remind me that bridges don't have to be perfect. They just need to connect. Juno smiled wider, touched by the gesture. That's what I want, she said softly. Bridge. For a long moment, they sat in silence, the hum of the bass around them. Then Juno said, let's start small, share moments. Be honest, Alex nodded, one step at a time.
That night,
Alex wrote a message not long, but full of meaning. Message. 2. Juno Valle, thank you for being my bridge. For reminding me what it means to keep trying. No matter the distance, no matter the silence, I'm here. We'll build this together. When Juno read the message, her heart lifted. She replied simply, together? The next days were different. They trained together, planned missions side by side, shared stories, not just about strategy, but about fears, hopes, and memories. Sometimes, they sat under the stars and talked late into the night, the cold. Forgotten in the warmth between them, Alex realized that reconnecting wasn't about fixing everything all at once. It was about patience, kindness, faith. He thought about his grandfather's stories, how humans survived wars not by rushing headlong into battle, but by standing firm, helping each other, never losing hope. That was the true strength. Not weapons or machines, but heart. One evening, during a joint species gathering, Commander Vale approached Alex again. You are changing things, Vale said. Now, not just with your rifle, but with your spirit. Alex smiled. We all carry something old inside us, something worth holding on to. Vale nodded slowly. I see that now. Maybe it is time we learn from humans, not just their weapons, but their hearts. Alex looked toward the stars and thought of Juno, of the bridge they were building, one careful step at a time. The training on Titan grew tougher each day. The war games were near, and every species prepared for the challenges ahead. But amid the noise and bustle, Alex felt a quiet struggle inside, even with small steps. The distance between him and Juno sometimes returned. Not a loud break or fight, but a silent pause, an invisible wall neither knew how to cross. Alex often wondered if Juno still thought about him when the stars shone bright. Did she feel the same longing, or had she moved on too far? One evening, after a long day of drills, Alex found himself wandering toward the observation deck. The vastness of space always calmed him. He looked out at Saturn's rings, the stars glittering like distant fires. He pulled his grandfather's rifle close, feeling its steady weight. A soft voice behind him startled him. Alex? He turned. It was Juno. She looked tired but determined. I wanted to talk, she said. They sat side by side, the cold metal bench between them. I'm sorry for the silence, Juno began. I sometimes don't know how to say what I feel, or how to reach out without breaking. Alex nodded. Feel the same. It's like we're speaking different languages sometimes. She smiled sadly. Maybe we are, but maybe that's human too. He looked at her. What do you mean we're complicated? Full of feelings, doubts, hope? Other species don't. Always understand that. But that's what makes us. Alex smiled softly, and it's what makes us strong. They talked quietly for hours. About fears, regrets, dreams. About the days when distance felt like a wall and how sometimes silence spoke louder than words. Juno reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, worn notebook. Inside were sketches, notes, and poems she had written during lonely nights. She handed it to Alex. Here, she said. Maybe it will help you understand me better. Alex opened the notebook. The words were simple, but full of feeling. Poems about stars, about home, about missing someone. He looked up at Juno. Thank you. She smiled, The first true smile in days. From that night on, things changed. They no longer tried to rush back to what they had instead. They built something new step by careful step. A trust deeper than words, a hope stronger than silence. The war games began. Alex fought with steady hands and a brave heart. Juno led her team with sharp mind and quiet strength. They worked together, learning to trust again. And when the final challenge came, Alex and Juno stood side by side not just as soldiers, but as friends who had bridged the distance. After the games, Juno looked at Alex and said, "Maybe the distance was just the space we needed to learn how strong we really are." Alex nodded. How far hope can take us. Under the stars, they smiled. The distance was no longer a barrier. It was a beginning. Asterisk, the days after the war games felt different. Alex woke up early, his heart lighter than before. Juno had stayed nearby, as distant as before, but close enough. To feel like home, they shared breakfasts, training sessions, and quiet moments watching Titan's skies. One morning, Alex found Juno waiting at the observation deck. Holding 2 cups of hot tea, she smiled and handed him one. "For the journey ahead," she said softly. Alex took it, feeling warmth spread. Through him, they sat in silence, looking at the stars. The galaxy seemed vast and endless. But now, it no longer felt lonely, because they had each other. Later that day, Alex walked with Juno through the base halls. He stopped and looked at her. "Thank you," he said, "for staying, for trying, for believing in us." Juno smiled. "Thank you for never giving up." They paused, then she took his hand. "It won't be easy," she said. "There will be challenges, distance, and silence, but we'll face them." Together, Alex squeezed her hand. One step at a time. Weeks passed. The base grew busy preparing for Earth's next mission. Alex and Juno worked side by side, their bond growing stronger. They learned to communicate without words, sometimes a touch, a glance, a shared breath. Their old fears didn't disappear, but they became quieter, stronger one evening, as they stood under Titan's twin moons. Alex pulled out his grandfather's rifle. "This has been with me through everything," he said. Juno touched the wood gently. "It's more than a weapon. It's a symbol of who we are," Alex said. "Humanity, strong, stubborn, full of hope." Juno nodded, and full of heart. They looked up at the stars, dreaming of new horizons. Alex thought about the days when distance felt like an endless void. Now, it was just part of the journey. A journey they would walk together, no matter where the galaxy took them. The next day, Earth's flag was raised high above Titan's base. Alex and Juno stood. Among their team, proud and ready, the galaxy had learned many things from humanity, not just their weapons, but their spirit. And in that spirit, Alex and Juno had found each other again. Not perfect, not without scars, but real and full of hope.